Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for a special episode of Dan-A-Plooza, our 100th episode. So, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We have a very special panel today. It is a burlesque panel with three amazing, talented burlesque performers. Right next to me is Coco Lafousfous. Right below me is burlesque performer Eden Ivy. And diagonally from me is La Petite Mystique. So, ladies, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what is it that you like most about burlesque?
Ooh, who's gonna talk first? I guess I would say one thing I like about burlesque is just like, especially this new influx of burlesque creators, is just the creativity that people put behind it. I tend to kind of fall into a very classical style in a lot of my acts, but then I just see people who are like dressing up in the craziest costumes and coming up with these elaborate little storylines that fit into like 3 to 6 minutes. I'm like, I want to always go on that journey with people.
And it's an amazing journey indeed. Eden?
Oh boy, I would have to say the community. This last weekend I was able to be involved with a festival as a patron versus a performer, and just being able to see everybody on the stage and be so welcoming off the stage as well. That's one of my favorite parts, is just getting to have these little pieces of individuals scattered everywhere.
That is amazing. We just had some comments come in. Thank you, Matt the Cat, for saying hello. He said everybody is amazing, and he is waving hello. Thank you, Matt the Cat. And for you, La Petite Mystique?
I think my favorite part of burlesque is the storytelling element, and also just being able to like emote. Like I use a lot of my acts to kind of like go through some of the real life stuff that I've been going through, and it's very like cathartic for me and a very kind of like releasing therapeutic process for me at times. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to release energy, especially still kind of being in the COVID times, even though we're getting out of that. It's that way you're not kind of all bottled up. So, what is your favorite go-to prop that you always have to have with you?
I'm very well known for being acrobatic, so it tends to be my prop will either be like an aerial apparatus, like the ones behind me, especially if I'm doing like La Petite show, like a burlesque show that's online, where I can have a little bit more creativity, freedom, where I'm not like, okay, I'm in a bar, the floor is gonna be this dirty. And then even when I do go and perform live in-person events, I tend to usually bring like an acro chair, and then I'll do acrobatics on that so that I can still show off some of my like flexibility and strength without getting on the bar floor too much. So definitely like a chair or like anything that gets me up off the floor.
That's awesome. And Eden?
So I born and bred in the dive bar scene, so where I've seen my floors, I've seen them a lot. But I would have to agree with Coco as a chair. It has the biggest bang for its buck, in my opinion, and you do a lot with just a simple restaurant chair or even a folding chair. So I would say go-to and probably favorite would be a chair.
And La Petite?
I'm kind of torn with this one. I'm kind of known for using a lot of fake blood in my acts. Yeah, so normally, like in Portland, I'm like, they're like, oh, how much blood are you using tonight? I'm like, oh, just a little bit. Don't worry, I have it under control. There's not gonna be a lot of mess.
Are you like just a scotch of blood?
We don't need the tarp for this one. No tarp today. Just a little blood.
Nope. For me, I just mine's the money. Is the that's my prop is the fan to tip. That's my go-to profit. Singles.
Always a fan of that
one. So what do you feel like, because we've seen like different burlesque involved, where they've kind of done different fandoms. Like I've seen like a Star Wars burlesque. Is there a certain fandom that you would like to see it mixed with the burlesque world?
I know for me, I'm a big video gamer, and at least the burlesque circles that I've performed with and been a part of, there has not been enough representation of the video game nerd. I'm not saying it's not out there, it's just something that I haven't run into enough. So I think I'm ready for more like nerdy video game themed shows.
Is there a certain video game character?
I really want to do a Shell from Portal act, just because there's a lot of like acrobatics involved, whether I do it in person with like a hula hoop or in the air with an aerial hoop lyra. But I think there's just something fun about the fact that she's one of the few characters that like starts off half dressed, but in an unexpected way. So if you know it, you know it. You don't, you don't.
What about you, Eden?
I've seen it all. I sound like so strange saying I've seen it all, but I've seen the video game shows. I've seen the Game of Thrones shows. So pretty much, if there's a fandom out there, I've seen some iteration of it. Let's just say, like, I want to see a book talk fandom. So like literal, like the smut of it all. I just want to see someone to like fantasize like Fabio in burlesque. So where it's not a traditional fandom, there's a big community of people who are big into literary. And I think just, I've been a part of a literary themed show where we've done numbers based off of characters. But I just think more of that because everybody's interpretation is different.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I think that's a good one. Would you want a classic Fabio line like with the it's not the butter or something, like
there has to be a fan on the corner of every single stage just so that you can get that windswept hair for everybody.
Blowing in
the windiest show.
What about you, La Petite?
I've seen a lot of like nerdless like pop up here, there, and then, and also online. There's a lot of Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and a lot of Harry Potter. So I've seen like a lot of kind of nerdless spread around. I really love that idea about like taking a book. I really love that idea, like quotations, just like being given a random quotation and just like improv. That would be like amazing. Yeah.
I will answer as well. I think something I'd like to see. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I think it would be interesting is Mortal Kombat.
Well, I've seen a couple of like Mortal Kombat themed acts actually. I've seen a couple. I will send you some videos.
I kind of want that. Get over here and then tip me, like. So, is there anybody that you really draw inspiration from as a performer?
Wow.
That's a hard question, Dan.
Is
You can't go from Mortal Kombat to that, Dan.
All questions. Come on.
certainly inspiring burlesque performers from like the legends, and then just like the people that are like living and breathing burlesque at the moment. I know one of my inspirations was Kobe Yee, who won a Beehoff Award a couple of years ago and unfortunately passed away. And Pearl Noir is a big inspiration for me. I love like how she's so sensual and so powerful on stage, and just like emotes so well, like just so captivating to watch. Also an amazing person as well. Yeah, that really is a difficult question.
I'm gonna have to send them before. Anything, Coco? Or
I didn't want to step up. I don't know if Eden was going to say something. I want to make sure I wasn't accidentally cutting her off. I would say right now I've been really like, way back in history. It was a burlesque and circus performer called Charmian. I might be getting it wrong. I can't, dyslexic, can't pronounce a lot of the things I read. But she was known for doing a striptease act on the trapeze, and it ended up being so incredibly popular at the time that I don't understand this full connection, but it's like Charmian somehow got in touch with Thomas Edison, and in one of the very first films ever made is her striptease act on the trapeze, where she's doing flips, she's pulling off her corset in the old Victorian gear, and there's like two guys in an opera box being like, yeah, get it. And the idea was to put the men in the opera box to show that there was like this consent. It was like, oh no, she has an audience. She knows she's we're not like filming her in secret. Like this is part of her performance. So it just seems so strange that you have these like, yeah, take it off. Because it shows that she's okay with what she's doing by like taking off these like Victorian garbs and like flipping around. So for her, I'm like, I would love to be able to do something noticeable enough to like take it to the next level of entertainment. A lot like some of the amazing virtual burlesque and in-person burlesque shows that are happening today.
very true. And Eden?
Oh boy. Similarly, I would have to say that a lot of the legends, for me specifically, Camille 2000. Absolutely love Camille. I had the pleasure of being able to interact with her while she was still with us. And I get inspiration from everybody, honestly. There is definitely a fine line from imitation and inspiration. But I do like every time I'm at a show, I get a little piece of inspiration, if anything, just to continue doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel very much with this setup like very Brady Bunch with the whole squares and everything like that, and sometimes when I'm talking, I know I'm looking down and everything like
I don't know what Brady Bunch theme of a show it would be with a Hawaiian shirt and with everyone else. I would watch it, but I just don't know what that episode would be called.
It's the one where they're marooned or something, on an island. And there's a guy with a Hawaiian shirt. It would basically be like Gilligan's Island. I don't know, Burlesque Island, maybe.
Well, and with Eden's, like, I can't tell if it's a picture frame or a mirror behind her, but it just feels like it'd be like the Brady Bunch goes to the Addams Family house. Like, it just, oh, yeah.
It's a mirror.
There you go. But so and it's interesting is when you do these kind of like virtual shows and in-person shows, what compliments do you enjoy the most from people who watch your shows?
I mean, for virtual for sure, but if it's also like an in-person show, I love the DMs the next day where it's like, oh hey, I caught your show, or and like I had to go to sleep, or like I'm an Irish goodbyer, I had to go, but I just wanted like your performance stuck with me to the point where I need to reach out and tell you like you've inspired me for my next thing, or just
Oh wow, very cool.
I love the DMs. I love like good, as long as they don't get weird.
Yeah. Eden?
Similar. It's just having somebody come up, and actually I feel like a lot of times people get nervous at in-person shows to like come up to the performers, or at least sometimes you hope that they're nervous. But what I really like is just kind of getting that feedback of, well, hey, I had a wonderful night and you were part of it. So, if that's, I am so empowered now because now I want to do what you're doing, or if it's just like, I've had a really rough week and seeing you perform has kind of turned that around for me. Those are the most impactful.
Very good. And La Petite?
Definitely, I like staying around after the show and just kind of like hanging out and mixing with the audience, getting that feedback. Yeah, really nice to be told, like, oh, I watched your act and like I connected with the story that you were trying to tell, or like it made me feel this emotion, or like I've experienced that in my life, and like kind of connecting on that level of like, yeah, I can like connect with like what you were trying to communicate on stage.
Yeah, you have that like that wholesome moment, when they really truly appreciate what it is that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was better at that. Like anytime after the show, I feel like I am that Irish goodbye of like, oh, I don't know how to talk to people when I'm not on stage. I don't know how to exist. I'm like, I'm so bad at this.
I'm very awkward after the show, but I kind of like I'm awkward, but hi, yes, I'm here. I'm just like, thank you. Okay. And then I like sneak.
Shuffle. In Eden?
Honestly, I like to talk to people after the show, so I don't try to avoid anybody, unless it's been a go of it. So if it's been like a really long show and multiple numbers, and maybe something didn't go the way that I planned, and that's whenever I have my producer hat on. Mostly, I'm just kind of like, okay, get the money, take it to the back, count it, make sure everybody's paid. Make sure you have everything, and then you can go home and you can relax. But as a performer, if I'm just in the show, it's usually like, oh, hey, let's talk. Let's get to know one another. Are you going to come back? When's the next show? When do you want to go? Like those types of things. So it really depends on what space I'm in during the event.
Definitely. And normally I enjoy actually giving compliments after the show. I normally I'm normally pretty much like very chill, and so usually I kind of read what the performer's vibe is. If like they look exhausted, I'm like, next time we'll do it, but I know sometimes people, they want to hear what I think and everything like that, because I know sometimes some people aren't really receptive, or they won't, like say anything, so, you want that feedback. But I feel like I haven't done it in a long time in person, but I do enjoy it virtually. But I think sometimes I get carried away because I'm on the keyboard, and then there'll be like 5 smileys, and I meant to, and so I'm just like, oh, fat fingered it. Oh well, they think it's really great.
And what I really love about like the virtual shows, especially with Zoom, is that you can like download the transcript afterwards. So like
Oh yeah.
like, because when you're performing, like you live, you don't get that like, oh, like at this particular moment, like I loved when you did this. But when you read like the transcript from like the Zoom comments, like you watch the video afterwards, you can see them go, oh wow, that glove peel, like I really loved how you're doing that glove peel. And it's like, oh, okay, like, okay, I can try doing it like that, like again, like, okay, people like that particular like glove peel or something. So I find it useful, and it's cool.
Next time I watch, I'm gonna compliment on the glove peel with some emojis behind it, so you'll know it's me. So is there a future stage that you want, like, as your dream stage to perform on?
I don't know if there's like a dream stage. Like I would love to be on, a big like 500 person theater stage. Like that would just be amazing. No matter, or like a historical theater would be great. But I think for me, especially with the burlesque community, it just ends up with me being like, oh, I can't wait to work with La Petite, or I'm going to be DMing Eden, and I want to make sure next time I'm in Pittsburgh, we're going to be performing together. So for me, it's like I'm always trying to find the people that I like gravitate towards and want to work with more than like a specific venue, if that makes sense. Like
It does.
Getting to know the community, it's like I want to share the stage with her. I want to be a part of it. That's what it tends to be for me.
And I think that would be great. Actually, I would like to see the three of you perform together, like, like kind of Charlie's Angels moments, Dan, you can be Bosley. Your mission, Angels? All right.
Oh, that would be fun. I think I agree with Coco's sentiments. Definitely it's more about like the people that you're working with than the space, because if they would let me and if it was legal, I'd have a show in my side yard all the time. But Pittsburgh is a weird space right now because we lost a lot of our venues. There's a ton that we just lost during COVID, and now there's a few that are starting to open up and that are kind of like into having burlesque, but it's still not the level that it was. So if I had $1 million or 3 million in the city, I think that I would just create a lounge, lounge scenario where it's like maybe 70s theme, has a touch of dive bar, but with clean carpets, and just kind of an all over welcoming space, because for me at least, I want to make sure that every single patron and performer comes into that space and feels welcome, no matter what their persuasion is or their identity is. So just an overall space with good people, good vibes, and good music.
La Petite?
I agree about like the community and like connecting with people, especially like build your own burlesque and connecting with people virtually. There are like communities of like burlesque communities around the country where I'm like, oh my goodness, like I love like the scene in this particular city. I would just love to go and actually meet those people in person and just like hang out. And so yeah, the people that I've met online just through like virtual stuff, it's just been really cool to be like, oh, if I want, if I wanted to, I could just be like, oh, I'm going to New York for the weekend. I'd love to see you. Like, also, like, you know, there's a show I'd either love to come and watch, or, you know, if there's an opportunity for me to be in one, then that would be amazing too. Like, so no particular one venue or one location, but just like the people and the connection. That's the most important thing for me.
Definitely. For me, I just would like my own talk show space and have a studio, and then you guys perform, and I just pull the backdrop down, and then you're in a different city. I just pull it and yank it.
Oh, I love that. That'd be fun.
It would. So we will wait and see, but that's the dream.
Time will tell. There's no need to rush.
Exactly. So with moving forward is, oh look, there's a kitty.
He promised a cameo earlier. He's like, yes, I will be on camera at some point.
This is the cat hour. There you go.
Oh, sweet.
Mine's taking a nap. She's very Garfield today. But is there oh, there's somebody else sending a comment. Hello, Nathan. Thank you for watching. Saying hello, what's up? So thank you, Nathan. What is your favorite costume? Do you have a favorite costume piece?
I don't know if I have like a specific favorite costume piece, but I have a lot of very sentimental pieces that have been like gifted down to me from some people that it's like, oh, I really admire, and I want to be like you. Oh my God, you gave me a pair of shoes. I'm gonna treasure these forever. And then there's some where it's like been passed kind of like sideways, where it's like people that I've been performing with and that I love, and then unfortunately are no longer with us. So those ones I'm like, those don't get used anymore. Those are my like treasure pieces that I somewhere safe. But mostly it's just like anything with tulle. Like I just and again, those are the ones where like they've been gifted to me, and I'm like, I treasure this piece of tulle and this floof forever and ever.
Awesome.
What about you, La Petite? Do you have a favorite costume piece?
I actually just put together recently like a new look with like a purple Catherine Delish robe, and then like a corset that's rhinestone. Like did some appliques and rhinestoned it all, and it's got like a matching like underwear set as well. And so like yeah, I combined that all for a look for a show last month, and I was like, wow, I think this is my favorite costume now. Like I've worn things like separately, but I hadn't like combined them, and then I was like, okay, I'll try all of this combination together. I was like, okay, yeah, this is my favorite look.
And you, Eden?
So I have a costume that I think is going to be my favorite. It's being commissioned right now, but in the interim, I have it's going to sound a little sacrilegious, so I'm sorry, Dan.
Okay.
I have Jesus, and it's probably my favorite.
What is it?
Jesus. Yeah, I'm like a stripping Jesus. That I go down into a leaf pasties and a leaf underwear. So I strip from Jesus into like a Eve, and
oh wow,
yeah, it's fun.
There you go.
But I love it because it's comfy. So it's one of the less labor intensive costumes that I have. So for the moment, it's my favorite.
You have a forbidden apple? Does it go with the act?
I do. I
Oh,
make
there
a new
you
one every show.
There you go. I have a fun question. If you were to have a tour bus, what would it have to be on the burlesque tour bus if you were to travel?
Oh man, I mean, if I think, and maybe this is just because I also like I love the drag scene, but I just think of tour bus from, oh god, it's that Australian movie. Now I'm blanking on it.
Oh,
But like just big set pieces, like big amazing set pieces, so that like if it's on the tour bus, if it's gonna fit on the bus, we're talking like a 6-foot shoe. We're gonna have cages, like we're gonna have everything that could facilitate an amazing show, but it would be definitely like big set pieces of things that would happen. Like I don't care if there's people on there. We'll find there's amazing people in every town.
Yeah.
But if we have the set.
What about you, La Petite? Is there anything you would want in particular?
in the bus. Oh, wow. Unlimited wine.
There you go. That's an automatic good time.
Yeah. Like, and then we just costume as you're on the road, like driving, just like very therapeutic, like just sat there, like, like driving and then switch and then
And Eden?
I think that I would want a tour bus that was like the Spice Girls in Spice World, where it had like the bubble chairs and like all these different bright sections, but their costumes and everything else. I think that would be so fun, but I could never find somebody who could drive a bus. So it would have to be like a van, like a G20 1970s era van, so that it would be fun and compact. You could sleep in it, but then also have all the fun like the Spice Girls did.
Yeah.
Someone suggested that maybe I should be the driver, so so we'll see if it comes to fruition. So
as long as you don't mind being driven insane, then I think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
You have to sign a waiver.
Yeah. I have to bring my cat, so everyone bring their animal.
Right.
Yeah.
All the kitty cats on the bus. For sure.
They'll be like sitting on the shoulder. So there is a show coming up, La Petite. Do you want to talk about the show that's coming up Saturday?
We are doing a show called Bands Off Our Bodies here in Portland, Maine, and it's a fundraiser for the National Abortion Federation. We have like an amazing lineup of local performers, and we also have a special performer in from New York, Jezebel Express, who actually lives off a bus, and that's
wow.
That's how she's here. She's actually driving around, stopping in different cities and performing. Like, she's living on a bus and like.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Goals.
Yeah.
Is there vodka on the bus? All right. Well, I hope everybody goes and checks that out. So that's all in person. Do they buy tickets at the door? Is there like a link?
Tickets are available at the door, and there's a reserved seating, very limited reserved seating link in my bio. Yeah.
Okay. On the Instagram. Okay. Do you have anything coming up, Coco?
No in-person shows coming up. Not yet.
Okay.
Still waiting on those bookings. I do have a couple of projects that will be debuting here virtually, and there's some that I can't quite talk about yet, but
Okay.
I'm always like posting things on my Instagram at Coco Lafousfous, and a lot of that will redirect you to my Linktree, so Linktree/Coco Lafousfous. And from there, it'll show you some of the new acts I've been working on. Once they're done with the show, I tend to release the video
Oh yeah.
in an unlisted YouTube link. So let me know, comment and let us know what you think about it. But yeah, you can find me on all social media at Coco Lafousfous to find out what I'm doing next.
Yeah. And Eden?
Oh boy, quite the busy bee over here. Lots of in-person things happening. Next week, there's an in-person show in Lawrenceville at the Lawrenceville Distilling in Pittsburgh. That's a birthday party for a fellow burlesque performer, open to the public.
Awesome.
September is scattered for shows. October, Naked and Crazy Burlesque is having its first afternoon delight at a new venue called The Bridge Music Bar. So we're going to do a little different. It's a 2 to 5 show. So a true afternoon delight full of performers. And then Naked and Crazy Burlesque is celebrating its 5 physical years in existence.
Congratulations.
6 technically, but with COVID, you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
We're celebrating our 5th physical anniversary for Holiday Aftermath 5 at Lawrenceville Distilling on November 26th. So lots coming down the ladder, but I know there's a bunch. So anybody can follow me on social media. I'm more than happy to share. A DM gets you the full calendar.
All right. And you make sure to follow these amazing performers on their Instagram. That's where you can get most of your information on performances and future performances. Let me go to my next question. Is there a favorite song or one of your favorite songs that you like to perform to?
Yeah.
La Petite?
My favorite song to perform to is Sugar by System of a Down.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so much fun to that track. So much fun.
Awesome. What do you like most about performing to that track?
I cover myself in icing sugar and sprinkles. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. I go from just baking and being a traditional 1950s stereotypical housewife to breaking into System of a Down and covering myself in ice and sugar sprinkles. It's just very dramatic change.
It's quite the reveal, but I bet it's quite the performance. So hopefully I get to see it someday. So and Coco?
That one's a tricky one for me because I don't entirely know why, but I always just I love making new acts. So almost every time, okay, new song. What are we doing? I think the song I've performed to the most would be "Sex Dreams" by Lady Gaga. It's got that theatrical sense. It's sexy, and it's just popular enough that people know it and can jam to it without being overplayed by the radio.
Exactly. And Eden?
I have to say it's a tie for me. I love performing to Crazy Bitch by Buck Cherry. They're actually, the guy that wrote that song's from Pittsburgh, or the region.
Oh, wow.
And it's not about me. Far too young for that. But I also really enjoy dancing to the Heavy Young Heathens version of House of the Rising Sun. It just always gets a really good crowd reaction, and it's just super epic. So both of those have a little piece of my heart.
That's awesome. So hopefully I see some of these someday. Is there anybody that you would ever perform with together? Like, would you ever do like a burlesque duo performance together, or are you more comfortable just doing solo?
For me, if there's going to be multiple people, I tend to like to just choreograph so I can kind of see how everything's working out.
Right.
But I do know I've been recently talking to the amazing Fanny St. Clair, and I've been trying to elbow her into a devil's act. Like, come on, we could do this. It could work. It could work.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that actually happens. But otherwise, I do just love like choreographing and coming up with the ideas, and then going, no, you go practice it. You make it look good. I'm the ideas man. You are the performer.
Coco, I'm thinking of the producers. We can make it work. Like you should present it like that to Fanny with the can make it work from the producers.
To be Nathan Lane, yes.
What about you, La Petite?
Like obviously, me and Kinky Slippers perform together. Like, we definitely have talked about doing like a duet at some point. We haven't performed yet, but like one day it will happen. It will happen one day.
You gotta wait for it. And Eden?
I used to be a part of a troupe a while ago. So I've done the duos and the group numbers. I like them. They have their benefits. If I would say that I do have an idea in mind for a blonde, a redhead, and a brunette. So you never know what's going to happen. And I think it's always open to opportunities.
There's a thought bubble forming, right? Well, I think that would be really amazing. So I would like to see that collaborate together. So that would be great. So is there anything else you amazing, talented performers would like to say or promote before we end here on Dan-A-Plooza?
Keep watching.
Yeah.
Keep watching. Keep supporting Dan.
And for giving us a space to talk. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
Or you folks. Trying to get better with the gender neutral term. It's my it's not a New Year's goal because we're halfway through the year, but like the rest of the year's goal is to try to incorporate more gender neutral terms. So I'm glad that all you folks are watching, wherever you lie on the wonderful gender spectrum.
I share that sentiment 100%. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to us. And maybe we'll see you out and about.
Exactly. So I want to thank everybody for watching and future watching of Dan-A-Plooza. This has been the 100th episode with the burlesque performers Coco Lafousfous, La Petite Mystique, and Eden Ivy. Stay tuned for more Dan-A-Plooza. I'll be back Sunday with 3 amazing guests. And keep watching and have a good night.